You didn't even say we're going to clap. You just started counting, and I had my phone in my hand, and so I had to toss the phone to the side so I get the clap on the yeah.
I'm sure you did. Yeah. Well, I'm going to start our song right now.
Welcome back to Asinine Radio, a weekly podcast where we talk about music, and, well, that's pretty much it. So, let's go!
Wow, that's disgusting. This is Asinine Radio. This is the weekly music podcast where every week we get into a different artist, a different band. We listen to all of their records so you don't have to, and we rank them from worst to best. We also give our biggest banger from each of them. And before we do that, we also get into our 6 degrees of Tom DeLonge.
Fuck.
If you did it, you clearly didn't do it, and neither did I. So let's move on from that. While you're listening, go to Apple Podcasts, go to Spotify, give us 5 stars and 5 stars only. Go to all the social media. We are at Asinine Radio, so give us a follow there. We have a Discord server. If you want to join that, hit us up. We'll send you the link. And we have a phone number. If you want to call it, call us, leave us a voicemail, shoot us a text. That phone number is 503-893-5307. So get into that. Now, Jeff, let's jump right into our rankings of the Coheed and Cambria albums, because we are doing Good Apollo this week. So we got to rank all 10 of their records. So let's start with their worst record, number 10. What do you got? Go.
I find that like when I'm either really, really excited for the album of the week that we're doing, I don't really do 6 degrees of Tom DeLonge's. Or if I'm really dreading what we're doing and I want to get like a head start, like the Deftones week, I was really dreading that. So then I didn't do it. And then this week I was like super excited, so I also didn't do it. I think it's like that middle area is when I do the 6 degrees most often. I find
weird.
I find you didn't do it either.
Yeah, I know. I was distracted. It was a long week. It was a very, very long week.
It was not that long a week, bro.
It was. It was.
Okay.
But well, continue. What do you got for number 10?
Number 10 is Vaxis, Act 1, The Heavenly Creatures, their 9th album, 2018. I love all these long album titles, too. They're great.
Dude, it's so annoying.
This is, none of these are bad. I didn't think any of these are bad in any way. Nothing sub 1. But I think like this is probably like a 1. Some cool stuff on this one. Some really dumbed down like pop punky stuff. There's also a lot of production going into some of these like extracurricular soundscapes. Fine, whatever. And Claudio's voice is just way more discernible than everything else on this album. It was just like, okay, dude, this is like a karaoke album at this point now. And I didn't really enjoy it that much, but it was fine.
That's it. No banger or anything like that?
No banger, nothing.
Okay. So let's move on then. My number 10 is also Vaxis Act 1, The Unheavenly Creatures.
Damn.
This one, like you said, 9th record. I remember nothing about this record. It's an hour and 19 minutes long. I think it's the longest record they have. And
it's a movie.
I couldn't tell you about any of the songs. I really couldn't. They all kind of just bled into each other, and nothing catchy, nothing heavy, nothing fast. It was just all run-of-the-mill Coheed and Cambria. And I mean, it's like you said too, nothing is bad here, but some of it I will never go back to. Like, it would be a 1. This would be a 1. You should listen to it once. That's it.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's my number 10. So, and I have no banger. So what do you got for number 9?
Good Apollo on Burning Star 4, Volume 2, No Hope for Tomorrow, their 4th album. This one's tough. This isn't a tough spot because it's following Good Apollo Volume 1. And like already you're in the hole. You just are. At least with me. but it's still a solid record. It's everything you want from Coheed up until this point, but it still follows this like increasingly apparent formula for the band. They're doing this prog sound full throttle, and this is the first time I felt like underwhelmed with their seemingly complex instrumentals. Still some serious bangers in here that was really good, and some pretty good melodies on this one, but I don't want to give a banger because, like, why would I listen to this when I can just listen to Volume 1? That's come on. Again, like, why would I reach for In Through the Outdoor when I can listen to fucking Houses of the Holy? Like, that's silly. So,
true.
Good Apollo Burning Star 4 Volume 2. It's fine album. Nothing wrong with it. I'm still going to give it a 1 because there's nothing on here that would make me come back to this album over my top 3 or 4.
That's fair. That's how I felt about quite a few of these records. All right, so my number 9 is The Color Before the Sun. Sorry. The Color Before the Sun, 8th record from 2015. Overall, I think this album is pretty forgettable. Much like Vaxxus Act 1, there's nothing that's very catchy, heavy, or anything that stands out at all. Like, you could really... This album and Vaxxus Act 1 could just be... they're just interchangeable to me. The only thing that I liked about, or that it really stood out to me on this record, was my banger, and that's Ghost, the song Ghost, because it's a straight-up acoustic song, and it sounds like... I don't know if it's Claudio singing on it, because the voice is much deeper than Claudio's normally is. So I just don't know if it is or not. But that's the only standout track because it doesn't sound like him and because it's all acoustic, and they don't do that very often. But outside of that, this album's pretty run of the mill, and I got nothing else on The Color Before the Sun. I don't remember anything from it.
Oh,
I really don't.
Okay.
I like how we're kind of on the same thing here. Like, it's not like you love every single record you heard, so
No.
that kind of eases my stress here.
But like, at least nothing's bad. Like honestly, listening to some of the Deftones stuff, like that shit was, some of it was bad, repetitive and bad. This is just it's repetitive for sure, but no, I don't think any of this was bad.
Well, I think your problem with the Deftones stuff was because you didn't listen to any of it.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you're just making it all up.
Yeah, I wish I made that up. I really do. Wish I could get all those hours back.
Damn, dude, that was a great week last week. And I listened to a bunch of Deftones this week too.
It just makes no fucking sense how anybody legitimately likes Deftones. There's nothing about that band that is great. At best, they are good. There's nothing about that band that is great.
Well, that's wrong. And we're not going to get into that because we're not getting into Deftones this week.
I could go another hour
last week
about how fucking much I hate that band. My number 8 is The Color Before the Sun, their 8th album.
There you go. Okay, this is good. I'm enjoying this.
I thought this one started off really goddamn good. I thought the first 2 tracks were fantastic. I was like, oh hell yeah, we're getting back into like this really catchy pop punk sound. I love it. And then the only song I remember after the second track is Ghost. Otherwise, I have no recollection of the rest of the album.
Right? It's so forgettable.
And the only reason why it's so high is because Ghost is a cool song, and then those two opening tracks I thought were really fucking cool. But legit, like after this album was over, and I was writing notes, dude, I can't write notes on this because I don't know what I listened to. Forgettable.
I agree with you. Totally agree with you. All right, so what is this one? Oh,
8.
okay. What?
You're on number 8.
Yeah. I was just trying to, because dude, these fucking song titles are so long, so I didn't write out the whole thing.
Oh, come on! Just copy
I
and paste them.
I know. So my number 8 is Good Apollo. Good Apollo. I'm Burning Star 4 Volume 2. No World for Tomorrow from 2007. This is why I didn't write out the whole thing. It's so fucking annoying, man. Oh, this band is just... I'll get into that in the main episode. But anyway, this is the only album that was recorded Who? Oh, fuck, dude. Let me start the fuck over. Let me start the fuck over. Oh my god. Okay, so Taylor Hawkins, former drummer of the Foo Fighters, played drums on this record. The only Coheed album he ever played drums on was on this because Chris Penny, the former drummer from Dillinger Escape Plan, wasn't allowed to play on this record because of contractual things. So they got Taylor Hawkins in to do that. I thought that was really cool. I thought his drum performance was cool. Nothing that really stood out, but it was solid. This record is the B-side version of Good Apollo Volume 1. It really is. It's not as heavy as the first one. Some songs bleed into the other. Nothing that's overly catchy. Like the Suffering from Volume 1 is just, dude, it's one of the catchiest things on the whole record. But there's nothing like that on this. It's just, like I said, it's the B-sides. The B-sides to Volume 1, and that's fine, whatever. You can't, I don't know how you can follow up to that record.
You can't.
Yes. So I do have a banger on this one, though. It is The Hound. Well, yeah, The Hound of Blood and Rank. The chorus in this song is probably, it is the catchiest thing on this entire record. I fucking love that chorus. There's some really great guitar parts with some cool effects. I feel like on Good Apollo Volume 1 and 2, the guitar playing was much more experimental. They were fucking around with a lot more pedals, it seemed like. They were experimenting more, which I thought was really cool. But then after that, it was just run-of-the-mill stuff, and it was just kind of boring at times. But this song really kind of, it just showed like how good of a guitar player and like creative they can be when they really want to be. The guitar solo is awesome on here because underneath the guitar solo, there's some great bass noodling, which I thought was fucking cool. And I totally playlist this song. This song was great.
Well, look at that.
Really fucking good. And I think it might have been a single too, but who cares? So that's my number 8. Good Apollo Volume 2, No World for Tomorrow. So what do you got for number 7? What?
I was trying to figure out what exactly was the reason why that Chris dude couldn't play drums, because he said contractual obligation, but there was no Dillinger album that was recorded during this time or put out at this time that had Chris on drums.
Maybe he was just under contract for that record label for X amount of years, even though he quit, I don't know if he was fired or quit, but
yeah, because their Dillinger's next album came out in 2007, but he didn't play or record or write any of the music on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I really
fucking
don't know.
Weird.
It is.
I don't like it.
So yeah, Chris only ended up playing on one record. Yeah, he only played on one Coheed record. But yeah, Taylor Hawkins played on this one, so that's cool. So what do you got for number 7?
In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3, their second album, 2003. And
okay.
Comparing it to like their first album, this is definitely a step in the direction of prog metal and what they will become, and a big step away from the genre baiting of their first, which is I liked it, but it's genre baiting is what they were doing. But it's still good.
That's an interesting word.
I actually came up with that while listening to their first album. It's good stuff.
Okay, all right.
It's still really good though. I just think it falls victim to like overkill. There's a lot of soundscapes that are fleshed out nicely. The problem is just like it's burnout. It's just too much. We go from Second Stage Turbine, which is just packed full of all these different sounds, all these different genres, and then we jump into this one and they hit it like full throttle, and there's not enough diversity there for me to really like attach myself onto.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know. It's cool. I like that they dropped like their biggest single later in the album that breaks up a lot of the monotonous sound that they're going for. That's cool.
It's crazy. It's like track 10 on the record.
Yeah.
That's crazy late for a single.
Love it. Dig it. And I mean, they do that often. And I think it's because, first of all, their albums are fucking long. And
I know.
Like on this one, they have that 3-part, the Camper Valorium. They have that 3-parter when it's essentially like 15 minutes long. Like you need a break. So they can write catchy, incredibly catchy songs, incredibly great songs. And this one's got like 2, right? Blood Red Summer and the House of Atlantic.
Yeah, Favorite House of Atlantic.
They can do it, and they know how to do it, but they choose to kind of
not to.
But
it's annoying sometimes.
It
can be annoying.
Hold on. They choose to stay along the path of the story, which I respect. They choose to kind of like incorporate things, they're not fully embracing a soundtrack album essentially to their comics, but they're intertwined. And I like that they're not just writing pop albums. I like that they're still incorporating this overall lore that they've created, that they're going for. It's cool. I like it. The Crowing, that's my favorite song here. Obviously, like House of Atlantic and then Blood Red Summer, fucking killer tracks. Singles, don't care, fantastic tracks. But The Crowing was super dope. This song had some really, really cool, like heavy instrumental parts and some really, really fantastic chugging and drum riffs at the same time. And I thought like, wow, you guys don't always need to be doing something. You can just kind of like let things play out. Let it just go. Let it ride. It's okay. So that's cool.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said on that record.
It's important to note. It's important to note too that this album is a story essentially told through the mouth or in words of Claudio from the Amory Wars, the fiction Claudio, and he's talking to the dog Apollo. And so towards the end, Claudio comes to the conclusion that he must destroy the center star of the keyword, star 4. And then so the album ends with him saying, like, good Apollo, like, stay, Apollo. Like, it was nice talking to you, Apollo. So he says, like, good Apollo, I'm going to burn star 4. And, like, that's so fucking cool. That was such an awesome way to end the album. Yeah. That was so rad. Oh, he says, good Apollo. I think he says, I'm burning star 4. And, like, the album ends. Like, God damn, that's fucking cool. Oh, I loved it so much.
They're quite an ambitious band. They really are.
Good shit.
Well, I don't know. I got a lot to say about this fucking band. This record that we're doing this week on the pod. But anyway, let's move on. So that was your 7. My number 7 is The Aftermath, Dissension. The second part of this. This was kind of nice because the Ascension and Descension were about 40 minutes long each. So that was nice. We got a nice 20-minute break, from those records. From each of those records.
It's actually After Man.
Is it After Man? I thought it was After Math.
No, it's After Man. The After Man.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You're totally right. You're right. I cannot read.
That's right.
Pod reading is very difficult.
It's difficult. I know. It's hard.
So After Man, Dissension, the second part, 7th record technically. I don't want to talk too much about this record because I feel like this is just an extension of the first part, and it's just not as good. Like I'm over it after that first 40 minutes from the first part. I don't need another 40 minutes of this. It's good, but I just don't need it. I have no banger off of this one. I was just over it. So let's move on to your number 6.
Yeah, my number 6 is the Afterman or Aftermath, Dissension.
Aftermath's a stupid thing. It should be Aftermath.
Well, okay, that's fine. So yeah, you're right. Like this one is it's an extension of the first. It really is. This one starts off like story wise the second half of the story of Cyrus. Is it Cyrus or Cyrus? It's Cyrus, yeah. But like musically, it's very in line with Ascension. It just didn't hit as hard. It's just it was old news. It's a little more tame, and that's just because we just heard a better, more condensed version of this album.
Yeah,
and so that's just why this falls so low. It was still pretty good though, and like the story is really cool. But I don't know, it's number 6.
Yeah, it's not a bad record at all. It's just too much of the kind of same stuff, which they fucking do so much. God, it'd be so much better if their records were condensed to every record was condensed to like 40 minutes, maybe 45 minutes.
I agree.
It'd be so good. But my number 6 is Vaxis 2, A Window of the Waking Mind.
Can't read.
Got that one wrong. What?
So you can't read anything.
I can't. It's difficult. This is their 10th record from 2022. It just came out this year. I think maybe a month ago. Overall, this record has a lot more of an electronic and almost dance feel at times, which I thought was really cool. Like they never really dove into that style until this record, and they did it surprisingly well. I really enjoyed my listen through of this record today. I actually listened to this one today, and I really like this one. It was solid. My banger is the song Shoulder. It's a heavier song with some cool electronic guitar tones, much like that Jack White record that we had talked about earlier. It has a lot of that same tone to it. And I don't know, it just seems like a happier sounding record. It doesn't sound as pretentious of a record. It just sounds like a band who's actually, it sounds like they're having fun. Like I haven't heard them having this kind of fun since the first Apollo or the first 3 records, really. Like this is the first time I feel like they haven't taken themselves too seriously musically. And I thought this was a killer record. This is a really good one. I would get this on vinyl.
Whoa!
Totally get this one on vinyl.
Really? We're in fucking 7 now? Yeah.
6, yeah.
Oh, yeah, 6. Would you get your top 6 on vinyls?
I would, yeah. I would.
Wow.
Well, I take it back. Maybe one of the 6 I wouldn't get.
But you get 5 out of the 6.
5 out of the 6, yeah. 5 out of the 6. Because one of them I really liked, but I don't think I would go back to it. But I still thought it was really good. If that makes any sense, I don't know. But it doesn't matter. So yeah, my number.
Keeping Silent or 3 because those 2 songs are really good, but the album's okay.
All right. So what do you got for number 5?
Year of the Black Rainbow.
Okay.
I felt like the big takeaway from this album was them writing an album for like a movie. And this is what it sounded like. There's a lot of like loud, bombastic electronic drum parts that are leading up to some type of climax battle. And at this point, like I was really getting into the story as far as like the Amory Wars and everything. I'm reading a lot about Coheed. This album, more than any other album, sounded like they were actually trying to write an album to mimic a film. Mm-hmm. And it's fine. It blended well with like the concept of the album too. That's fine. Shattered Symphony, that was my banger. I've bangers now. See, I've
there you go. Finally,
yeah, several.
Took long enough.
Here. It's okay. I don't always need bangers for every album. Okay,
I know. I agree. I don't have a banger.
We used to do that. We used to always like force ourselves to pick one, and I can't remember what listen through it was. But at some point, I was like, man, fuck this. I do not want to pick any banger from this album. I don't even want to give it credit. It was so like whatever we did was that bad where it changed format.
It was probably Poison.
Maybe it was Poison. It could have been Poison.
Yeah, because that was just so bad. That was so bad. Beyond bad.
Because like the point of the bangers is to find like something good, and even if it's in something bad. And I think Poison is what destroyed that. That's awesome.
It broke our spirits. It broke our spirits.
It fucking pushed us down. That's awesome. Yeah, You're the Black Rainbow's cool. It's a good album. I like it. I would go back to this. I don't think I would buy this on the vinyls yet, but I would go back to this. I don't know when or why, but I would.
All right, my number 5 is In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3. God, stupid fucking titles, man.
Love it.
Swear to God. Second album. This album is. I was surprised at how pop based this record was. I hadn't listened to this record in I can't even tell you how many years. But after listening to the first one and then they go into this more pop based record, I just couldn't believe it. Like it's a huge jump between the first and second.
You think this one's more pop than their first album?
Oh yeah. Like I feel like tonally, musically, songwriting wise, I feel like this is more pop based. Yeah, for sure, bruh. For sure. I was a little disappointed in that. But I think if I went back and listened to this again after listening to everything, I think I would like it more. But I didn't have the time to go back and listen to more of these records. So with that, my biggest banger is A Favor House Atlantic. That
Good
song.
Eye sniper, I shoot and you run.
It's so much fun to sing, and just everything about this. It's so pop rock heavy. The way he plays the drums is so pop rock. Everything about it. The ending part where the guitar is playing that super high part. It's almost to the point where it gets too much and it gets obnoxious. But then they end it at just the right point. I fucking love that song. It's a good record though. This is a really good record. But yeah, and Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth. Yes, that part. So what do you got?
My number 4.
So what do you got for number 4? Yeah.
4 is Vaxis, Act 2.
Okay.
A window of the waking A Window of the Waking Mind. Jesus Christ.
God, this is so obnoxious.
This one came out this year, and we've carried this at the store, and I've never listened to this, never heard it. We talked about some of the singles when it came out, and I think at the time it was just didn't care really, unless you're going to put Welcome Home out again. I don't really care what you have to say, Coheed. And this kind of fell victim to that. This is very pop rock, a ton of electronic songs here, and I like it. I actually really, really like it. And as I was playing this at the record store, somebody fucking bought the last copy that we had.
Oh, that's so annoying.
But like, it was cool because he came up and I was ringing him up. And I was like, dude. He's like, I know. I said, you fucking gonna buy it? He said, yeah, it's fucking good. I said, oh wow, okay. It was a little kind of cool short exchange there. But this is a great example of a band that takes some risk and doesn't follow the same format that is expected of them. Takes a little bit of a risk, but kind of still like they're still keeping true to their form. They're still keeping true to the heart of what is Coheed and Cambria, and they make it better. And they're on a ledge here, and it's fantastic. I love it. I think it's an unbelievably good album.
I was very, very surprised. 10 records deep, 20 years later, they put out a record like this that really captivated me and kept me interested. I was very, very surprised. I thought it was killer too.
My favorite song is one of the singles, Liars Club. But honestly, I think all of the singles are like you said, dance type songs.
They are,
because they do have that driving, like Andrew WK style to them. Like
and they have a lot of that
drive forward.
They have a lot of that disco beat kind of thing too. That scat scat scat. That very
so good
offbeat thing, and it's so dancey, and it can be so much fun. It adds so much to a song. That's like why "Got the Life" by Korn is so. One of the reasons why that song is so good because it has that kind of beat too. That dance disco kind of beat. So fucking good.
Okay. So freaking good.
So freaking good. My number 4 is Year of the Black Rainbow, 5th album. Like you said, this is the prequel. Story-wise, this is the prequel to all of their records. And I think the reason why you said that this sounds like a movie soundtrack was because it was produced by Atticus Ross, who, Nine Inch Nails, has scored many movies over the years. I think that's one reason why. And they also had another producer named Joe Barresi. He did a lot of stuff with the Queens of the Stone Age. I thought this was a cool record. This is it's just a heavier, kind of faster album for the most part, but there's also some really cool experimentation, especially with the guitar effects that adds to some of the soundscapes. And I don't know, there's a lot of cool stuff going on this record. I liked it a lot. This is the first and only record that Chris Penny from Dillinger Escape Plan played on, and then he quit the band after recording and touring this record. And this is a solid record. I don't have a banger. This is an album that I appreciated as a whole. I couldn't pick anything out specifically, but I enjoyed listening to the entire thing. I was never bored. I never thought, dude, let's just move on to the next song. I don't want to listen to 5 minutes of the same thing. I just really enjoyed this one. It was solid. Really, really solid. So yeah, Year of the Black Rainbow is my number 4. So what do you got for number 3?
Cool. The Aftermath, right?
Okay.
The Aftermath, Ascension, the Afterman, Ascension. Their
So
6th
annoying.
album. This is so I mean, did you read the story about these two albums at all? The lore?
So I read a little bit. Is that it took place? The story took place after the first 4 or I guess 5 records technically.
It's a prequel. Prequel. It's a
is it a
prequel
prequel?
Prequel to the Amory Wars.
Oh, I thought it was a sequel. I thought it was him. I forgot the guy's name, but him going and
Cyrus Amory,
trying to go to find the key, not the
key work.
I keep wanting to say keynote.
Nope,
the
not
keywork.
the keynote with PlayStation.
Yeah, okay. Going to find the key work and destroying it, or figuring it out, or unlocking its mysteries and all that kind of stuff. This whole fucking story is so convoluted and annoying.
It's cool.
Sometimes.
So like he's a cool character. He's a scientist trying to figure out how the key work works.
Is it Cyrus or
operates.
Sirius?
Cyrus. It's spelled stupid, but it's pronounced Cyrus.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the girl that I was watching on her YouTube videos, she said Sirius constantly, and then on her next video, she's like, "Oh," and then mentioned somehow somebody corrected her, and it's actually pronounced Cyrus, like Cyrus.
Okay.
But he eventually dives into the keyword. Cyrus dives into the keyword, and I guess we can get into the keyword later, but he dives into the keyword to find its secrets. But he's gone for so long that everybody thinks he's dead, and he was only gone for 500 some odd days, almost 2 years. But he discovers all these worldly and godly informations about the key work. But this is his life work, but he's told that he can't tell anybody, and he's told by this group of people called the Prize, which we'll talk. There's Prize members later on in Good Apollo. I think the Prize are like Valkyries, like they're protectors of information, of keyword stuff in a religious type of thing. That's what they remind me, because they're all women. So that's what they remind me. They remind me of Valkyries, and they tell Cyrus that he can't tell anybody what he's seen here. Otherwise, the Prize will see that as an act of war and fucking wipe out everybody that knows anything about what he said. So he gets home to find his wife, right, and she's super stoked for him, but she's moved on, because he was gone for years, and so he's super sad. And then he triggers something. I didn't read too much about what it was, but he ends up killing his ex-wife, and so then he's going to dive back into the key work to find the heaven part of what he thinks it is, so that he can let his ex-wife's soul be at eternal rest with the key work's heaven part, because there's kind of two levels to the key work. There's a heaven and a hell, not literally, but two different things. And hell is what all the souls in hell get recycled back into the key work, and heaven is the nirvana, really. But it was a cool story. And I liked it a lot. I liked the story. It was fun. The album was cool, good parts to it. Had a lot of loud anthemic jams followed by spoken word parts to drive that story forward, which I thought was so cool, because they incorporated it together very, very well. And I like the idea of excitable parts of the album pitted against angsty tracks. And I think the album ends with a track that parallels both Claudio's feelings and Claudio in real life, and then the fictional Cyrus, the loneliness of not being home with family. Just pretty cool writing, man. I think that Claudio can write really, really, really great stories, really great lore. But Vic the Butcher, that was my favorite song. Kind of reminded me of My Chemical Romance in the Black Parade days, but just imagine them actually doing a good job at accomplishing that sound.
Yeah,
and then it ends with the spoken word thing that I love, and I think is fantastic. So, the Afterman Ascension, good.
There were definitely moments where not on this record particularly, but just in general, that fuck, man, the way he kind of sings at certain parts sounded just like Gerard Way, and it was really annoying, and it really irritated me. But overall, it was okay.
I would buy my top 4 on the vinyls.
Your number 3, that was your 3, right?
That was my 3.
Yeah, okay. My 3 is also the Afterman Ascension, 6th record. This one, overall, it has a heavier tone. They kind of got rid of a lot of the experimental stuff they were doing musically, and they just kind of made a heavier, more driven record. Like you said, the more spoken word stuff was cool. It was a nice break from everything else, kind of changing it up a bit. But overall, it was just a heavier record. I really liked that. But the main reason why I liked it was because of the songs Extraction 2, 3, and 4. Those 3 songs right there were just pure gold. Just fucking amazing. Extraction 2. That one, he just does some crazy fucking things with his voice, to the point where it actually reminded me of Jonathan Davis. Not like he was scatting or anything like that. Just the certain ways he was just saying things was like how Jonathan Davis delivers his vocals, and I just thought that was so cool. And the guitar tone, especially on this song, the guitar tone is so thick and so heavy. I don't know what kind of amps that they were using, but whatever it was, God, it just cut through that mix so well, and it just added some crazy aggression to the song itself, and just the overall the overall feel of this record and this particular suite as it's called. But also, I think it's the end of Extraction 4 is like straight out of Mars Volta record, like straight out of like parts of Amputecture or parts of Francis the Mute. It's just very kind of, it has that kind of like that Latin America kind of percussive thing going on, and it just kind of loops itself over and over again. But I got a lot of Mars Volta stuff from the end of Extraction 4. Just really honestly, the whole build up and just the way everything just kind of resolves with that in Extraction 4 was just fucking perfect. Those 3 songs right there make this entire record. Like I would buy this on vinyl just for those 3 songs.
Damn.
Just for Extraction 2 through 4. Fucking good. I loved it. So
okay.
That's my number 3, the Afterman Ascension.
Number 3, sticking to it.
Yep. So what do you got for number 2? I guess our top 2 are the same.
Yeah. Number 2 is Second Stage Turbine Blade, their first album, 2002, the same year the world champion Anaheim Angels won the World Series. So this is their first album, but second in the overall lore and story, which we'll talk about later, whatever. But for now, I haven't listened to this since they dropped Silent Earth 3, like their next album. Like I had not listened to this since high school. It has been so long, and this album's really good. It's like really, really good. And this is, but like that genre baiting that I mentioned earlier, that's what they're doing here. They're coming out at a time, 2002, where like the pop punk emo scene was dominating. These guys throw down an album that is superficially pop punk, right? A lot of chickas, a lot of palm mutes, a lot of poppy harms. But then they add these really subtle prog metal riffs, but they're disguised as this generation of emo. It's heavy, it's noodly, his vocals are whiny on the surface, but really he's tapping into some like real aggression and complexity. And I was really fucking impressed. Like, if it wasn't for half of Good Apollo 4, Chapter 1, like this would be their best album. This is incredibly impressive, not just from like a musical standpoint, but just how they're getting everything across. There's no fucking way they would be able to drop in their first album, drop in all this lore, say, hey, we're writing comics now. They need to ease into this. If they're in it for the long run, they got to ease into it. And like, this is one of the best albums I've ever heard that like sought out to do something and accomplish that genre wise. This is very impressive. I was very impressed with this.
All right. So what's your banger off this one?
The track 33, that was a good one. Okay. I like the lore of this one. I like the story. Before we did this, I knew like a little bit about it. And I was reading a little bit about it, and it got really convoluted and very like Lord of the Rings like. And I was like, I don't want to do this. It was stupid. But then I watched this girl, her YouTube videos. JJ Metal was her name. Huge shout out. She dropped these videos that were very helpful. And then after I watched the videos, then I kind of went back. Me. I did link you.
Did you?
That's fine though. Actually, I sent you the video, the first video you should watch too. That's not a big deal. After watching her videos, I went back and read more about the story, and it's pretty good. Like it's just really cool, and there's no different. It takes time, right? Like even though I don't read the Star Wars books, I never dove into it. When they mention worlds or people, it's not hard for me to immediately either like know who that is based off of just dialogue from video games I've played or movies or TV shows, or just talking to other people. And there's, like Thrawn. Like I never read anything about Thrawn, but like I know a lot about Thrawn based off of you and Justin talking about him, based off of small menchies and other things that I watch or hear or see. And so like that's a world that we've been so ingrained into that we can pick up anything in that. So given these videos that the girl did, it was a lot easier for me to read about the Amory Wars story and pick up these names just based off of that little video thing that I watched.
Okay. Good. It's
cool stuff. Man, this album is
something
This album
else.
is good. Like this out. I don't want to say that they duped everybody because they didn't. They really tried hard to make an album that appealed to everybody, but also showcase what they are great at.
Yeah,
like it is fucking unreal. It is absolutely unreal.
Now, I mean, this is my number 2 as well. So I agree with a lot of what you're saying, and they were kind of all over the place genre wise, and I liked it, and I thought it didn't sound like, but it was very much in the vein of Thrice's first record, Identity Crisis, where that Identity Crisis record has, there's thrash in there, there's emo, there's pop punk at points, there's hardcore punk sometimes, there's post-hardcore. I mean, there's a lot of shit going on in that record, and I feel like that's what this record is. It doesn't sound like Thrice, but it has that same idea where let's just throw a bunch of genres into a song, into a section, and just see where it lands. And I love that. I just love how they just kind of didn't give a shit on this record, or they gave a shit, but they just took what they loved from all the genres of music they like and just threw them into a pot. And that's what this record is. That's what's so great about a lot of debut records is how, these guys just, they don't think about what's going to be popular. They just think about what they like, and they write songs about what they like, and that's it. And it's innocent, and I love it. And that's what this album is. I know there's an overarching story, and it's more complex than that, but underneath all of that, there's a sense of just really just not giving a fuck and going for it. And that's what I like so much about it. And also the tones on this record, the snare drum, I think is the crack on that snare drum throughout the entire record just cuts through that mix, and it's so fucking good. I love the drum sounds.
Love that shit, huh?
Dude, if you got a good high crack on that snare drum, I'm fucking hooked. Like almost no matter what, I'm fucking hooked. And this record has that, and I love it. And just the guitar tones themselves, like those crunchy palm mutes, they're not big and overpowering like a Metallica chugging riff or anything like that, like Meshuggah or anything like that. It's very I don't want to say tinny, but very it's not heavy, but it's that chug is still there, and it's still very, very, very crunchy. I think this record is fucking awesome. I had never heard this record before until this week, and I totally loved it. I'm for sure absolutely gonna get this on vinyl.
Whoa.
This record is fucking awesome. So,
wow.
Yeah, my banger is Hearshot Kid Disaster. It's one of the heavier songs on the record. He actually screams a bit on this. He barely does any sort of screaming after this record. It's very, very minimal after this. But there's some great fucking chugging, and it's like swingy at times. They do a really good job of like doing that swingy thing with the chugging guitars, and it just sounds so fucking good. So, Second Stage Turbine Blade, my number 2. So there you go.
Yeah, so that leaves our number ones, and it's obviously Good Apollo on Burning Star 4, Volume 1, From Fear Through the Eyes of Madness.
God, that's annoying.
Luglio Italiano.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. Go listen to the main episode because we're getting into the third Coheed and Cambria record. So I'll get into that. Thank you all for listening. Give us 5 stars, and that's it. That's all. What's that?